Property taxes canceled. How would you like that? Well, we're hearing in Florida, this could be a reality here very soon with a bombshell that has been dropped by Governor Ron DeSantis. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think that Donald Trump should take a page out of Ron DeSantis' playbook here and make this a national thing? Would you like to see that? No taxes on property. If so, put yes. If no, put no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. A lot of people are speculating what would be the repercussions of this if we eliminated taxes for the state of Florida and even nationwide. Well, let me share with you some of the headlines that have been coming out regarding this, as we're hearing that this proposal has just now come out roughly in the past month or so, as he is saying he would like to eliminate property taxes for Floridians. And what could be the implications? Let's take a look at the headlines so that way you can see it for yourself. Now, as I mentioned, this is coming out back in March 31st, so a little over a month ago, but now still making more headlines. Governor Ron DeSantis proposes eliminating property taxes in Florida. And again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Take a look. GOP leaders find new major holiday deadline for Trump's big, beautiful bill amid Medicaid and tax divisions. So right now, what if this was included for the big, beautiful bill? What if they said no more taxes for property for the entire nation? Now, like I said, we're going to get into the details of what's going on in Florida, but what if this actually came across on a national level? That would be huge. That could be a big move for Donald Trump. Now, take a look. What we have heard, some big moves coming out from Donald Trump, is this. Americans earning under $200,000 could pay less in taxes or perhaps nothing, says Donald Trump. And he's saying if you make less than that, you could have your taxes eliminated altogether for income. He is suggesting with what's happening with tariffs. Now, we're going to be seeing, I will keep you up to date, but people are saying that this is something that could be considered. As take a look, this coming out last month, just a couple weeks ago, how eliminating property taxes could impact Florida homeowners. As this is being speculated, hey, wipe out the taxation on property in Florida for the state, and let's see where it goes. Some people are saying that this could have negative repercussions. Others saying, no, we need to do this for homeowners. And take a look. Governor Ron DeSantis proposes also a $1,000 property tax rebate for Florida homeowners. This coming out March 31st, 2025, roughly when we're hearing that he had announced that he would like to eliminate taxation on property for Floridians. So I'm going to get you caught up on the latest on this so that way you can see exactly what is going on. You can hear it for yourself. And again, let me know your thoughts. Should Donald Trump do this on a national level for everybody in the nation? Eliminating property taxes. Do you think that this would essentially be a good thing or bad? Let me know your thoughts. But I'm going to go ahead and dive right in, get you caught up on the latest so you know exactly what is going on. And I see William Vernoy Jr. saying, good evening, Steve, and everyone. Good evening to you as well. I see Jim Ward saying, make those taxes go away. Mindy is saying, please do this in Texas. Yeah, that would be great. I know here in Texas, we get hit with property taxes pretty hard. So we're going to dive right in, though. And as you guys know, all of these articles are going to be hyperlinked in the description. I cite all the sources. They are linked down below so you can click it, read it for yourself, see where it's coming from, and you can know and rest assured that this is the latest. And I'm going to also put it on the screen, read directly from it so you can see it for yourself. And if you appreciate that, do me a favor, take a second, hit that like button for me. Now, in addition to that, if you want to stay up to date on everything, it is totally free. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. I'll keep you up to speed as more information comes out about property taxes, income taxes, the tax bill, that big, beautiful bill. Also, we're hearing about the Doge dividend refund checks potentially being a line item in that big, beautiful bill. Social Security, conflicts around the nation, you name it. I will keep you up to date. And like I said, totally free. Just hit that subscribe button and you can stay up to date on everything. So let's go ahead, though, and dive right in. I'm seeing people still saying, yes, indeed, says Gerald, and says Ruth Surdez, as they are saying, eliminate these property taxes. Let's go ahead and take a look at this so you can see it for yourself. Now, you can see here this article coming out says, Governor Ron DeSantis proposes eliminating property taxes in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis wants to eliminate property taxes in Florida. He's asking legislators to redirect $5 billion in proposed sales tax cuts to property tax relief instead. Wow. DeSantis wants a constitutional amendment on November of 2026's ballot that could get rid of property taxes entirely. Governor Ron DeSantis is proposing billions of dollars in tax property relief for homestead owners in Florida, and if he gets his way, that could just be the beginning. At a news conference in Orlando on Monday, the governor mentioned a proposal in the Florida House to provide $5 billion per year in sales tax cuts. DeSantis says that he wants legislators to instead focus that relief on property taxes for homeowners who live in the state. Now, what they're saying, DeSantis says cutting property taxes would result in a nearly $1,000 tax rebate for homeowners. He says instead of benefiting out-of-towners, cutting property taxes would benefit the right people. I want Canadian tourists and Brazilian tourists subsidizing the state and making it so Florida residents pay less taxes, said DeSantis. I don't want to give Canadians a tax cut. The other side, DeSantis says he's not against a sales tax cut in general, but the House Speaker said last week cutting sales taxes would be the fastest way of helping more people. This year, we'll try a novel concept and make Florida more affordable by giving the people of Florida their own money back to them, the House Speaker Daniel Perez said. Democrats have likened the idea to living only on candy, saying the cost of these tax cuts, either on sales or property taxes, is fewer services like police, education, and environmental protection. Now, a $5 billion cut would require a 4% dip in state spending. Whether I agree with him on everything is a different debate, said State Representative Anna Escamani of Orlando. But I do appreciate the independent streak because I think it's important the legislature set the agenda on policy on budget. Now, in a statement, the House Speaker said he welcomed the governor's idea. The Senate president took both sides, but said that any tax cut should be made without raising taxes in the future if the economy stumbles. The governor says there is enough of a surplus where drastic cuts in services would not necessarily have to be made. Now, by the numbers, according to a study by the Florida Policy Institute, local governments in Florida collect $42.7 billion in property taxes annually, or about $2,000 per person. That's nearly 1/5 of all revenue for local governments and roughly half of the revenue for school districts. You have to just keep writing a check to the government just for the privilege of using your own property, DeSantis said. That's an anomaly. That's not the way good tax policy should be. DeSantis said Monday that there are ways to help offset that lost revenue with lower impacts on Florida residents, including the state's ongoing DOGE efforts. But it's not entirely clear how other taxes could be impacted. So what's next? Well, this follows a long fight over immigration reform in which DeSantis and the legislature eventually compromised, publicly promising that their relationship would smooth over. Any immediate property tax relief would require support from the Florida legislature, while the elimination of the tax requires an amendment to the Florida Constitution. Any constitutional amendment would require the support of 60% of Floridians to pass. So we will see if this is something that is going to come to fruition, but this is what we had heard from Ron DeSantis. He would like to eliminate this altogether. He said, why is it that we have this state where a lot of people are coming to vacation and we're not having them have the heavy lift of having to support the state? Why are we punishing the residents of this state? He is saying we should eliminate the tax. Now, like I said, do you think that this is a good idea? Do you think that this is something that should be done on a national level? Would you like to see the taxation eliminated? He said, why is it that you own a home, but you never really own it? You are still under the pressure of taxation for the state. Let me know your thoughts. If you think this is a good idea, like I said, drop yes in the comments. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget, if you haven't done so yet, to hit that like button. We're going to see where we go from here. Now, in addition to that, we've also heard in an alignment with not punishing residents that actually live here, Donald Trump saying that the IRS needs to essentially be eliminated. There should not be an internal revenue service that is punishing people for making income, that we should have an external revenue service or an ERS, and that would be through tariffs, taxation that could help fund our government. And essentially, anybody making less than $200,000 a year, well, you should pay nothing at all, he said. It could pay less into taxes or nothing at all. Let's take a look at this so you can see it for yourself. Now, this coming out a few days ago, you can see April 28th, trillions of dollars of tax cuts that are due to expire at the end of the year have several hurdles to jump before they can be certain. But President Trump maintained that millions of Americans will save tax under his policies, even without the finalization of passing of the legislation to extend existing tax cuts. The president claimed Sunday that when tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. And if you like the sound of that, drop a 47 in the comments for support for Donald Trump and the policies that he is proposing. He is proposing potential elimination of income tax for anybody under $200,000 a year. A recent survey revealed a declining share of people nationwide that think that the federal income tax they pay is fair. In a post on Truth Social's platform, Trump said that the focus will be on the people making less than $200,000 a year. The statement is likely to have been in part to temper the view that the president's focus is on protecting the rich, following his comments on allowing tax breaks for wealthy people to expire to help pay for cuts for the less well-off. I think it would be very disruptive because a lot of millionaires would leave the country, Trump said last week. Now, according to a 2025 fiscal policy national survey conducted by YouGov for the Cato Institute, 81% of Americans say they can't afford to pay higher taxes next year. Trump's approval rating for handling the economy has fallen to 42% from 51% in a little over a month, according to CBS News polls, and people are still concerned about rising prices. And the president was making no promises over the weekend that Americans will see tax cuts in the near term. It'll take a little while before we do that, he said. So there you have it. We're hearing that he is proposing a lot of things with this new big, beautiful bill, he calls it. He is calling for the elimination of taxes for Social Security beneficiaries, ending taxes on overtime, ending taxes on tips. And we're going to be seeing what other things are included in this big, beautiful bill. And we're hearing potentially a line item could be Doge dividend refund checks as well. So I'm going to keep you up to date on all of that. As we speak right now, May 5th, 2025, Congress is working on that big, beautiful bill, and we're going to be seeing what's included. And we will see if they decide to follow what we are seeing in Florida. Take a look. Here's another article. And this one's going to be kind of tapping into what they suspect potentially the repercussions could be if they eliminated property tax. It says how eliminating property taxes could impact Florida homeowners. Governor Ron DeSantis' proposal to eliminate Florida's property tax would have a big impact on homeowners, residents, and businesses. Now, this says Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis has proposed reducing, reforming, and potentially eliminating Florida's property taxes. The proposal is in the idea stage. Any rollbacks or changes require a constitutional amendment with a 60% majority vote. The impact on residents and the real estate market remains uncertain, but experts have theories on the potential outcomes. So let's go ahead and cover this and see what the experts are saying could potentially unfold here. As Florida lawmakers debate Ron DeSantis' proposal to eliminate state property taxes, buyers, sellers, agents, renters, and landlords are trying to figure out the potential fallout. DeSantis has floated the idea of eliminating property taxes, a plan that would require major restructuring of how local governments are funded. He has also suggested immediate relief to Florida homeowners through a tax rebate. Lawmakers in both the state, House, and Senate have responded with different proposals to trim the sales tax, along with other tax changes. DeSantis, however, says he wants to aim tax relief at residents, not tourists. Property taxes are collected by municipalities in all 50 states and help fund public services such as schools, firefighters, and police, among other things. While a change in Florida is far from reality, requiring a constitutional amendment with 60% voter approval, it raises the question, what would happen if Florida eliminated or reduced property taxes? Given Florida would be the first state to eliminate property taxes, there is no good model for what could happen if the policy is passed. To better understand what this proposal could do for homeowners, buyers, sellers, and renters, we spoke with experts to break down the potential positive and negative impacts. The comments come just days after DeSantis formally proposed a $1,000 property tax rebate for Florida homeowners in a $5 billion plan now awaiting legislative approval. If it passes, checks could start going out in December. So, how's Florida's property taxes currently work? Property taxes are levied based on a property's annual assessed value. A municipality collects these funds and disperses them to fund local services. Schools receive the biggest funding, but you also have local fire departments, police officers, roads, and other maintenance. However, the percentage of funding varies by municipality, says Noel Tassi, CEO and president of Ready, an online real estate platform based in Manhattan where agents bid to represent listings. According to the Florida Policy Institute in Orlando, Florida property taxes make up about 18% of the county revenue, 17% of municipal revenue, and 50 to 60% of school district revenue, depending on the community. The Institute's 2025 report shows around $43 billion in collected from property taxes in Florida and allocated to these local services. However, policy analyst Esteban Leonardo Santos says updated numbers are closer to $55 billion. So how would Florida replace property tax revenue? No official plan has been released about how property tax revenue could be replaced. Ultimately, whatever you end up doing, it's going to have to be pretty drastic. Nothing is free, and budgets have to be balanced. You have to raise revenue equitably or cut services, Santos says. Now, the state Senate has outlined a plan to cut sales tax and commission. A study by the Office of Economic and Demographic Research on eliminating property taxes in advance of potential constitutional amendment for the 2026 ballot, with findings due in the fall. Possible funding sources include higher consumption-based sales tax. So these could be the repercussions. And let me know after I read these if you're still for eliminating still for eliminating property tax. Possible funding sources could be higher consumption-based sales tax, budget cuts, increased tourist tax, locally determined special assessments for certain services, a combination of these. So you could see higher budget cuts, you could see higher consumption of sales tax, you could see increased tourist tax, or locally determined special assessments for certain services. Suzanne Hollander, an attorney and associate professor at Florida International University's Tibor and Sheila Hollow School of Real Estate in Miami, feels the best solution is to combine multiple funding sources to ensure a balanced budget without excessive cuts. There are a lot of ways that it could be funded, says Hollander. Increasing restaurant, hotel, and tourist attraction taxes. They could trim the municipal budget to make sure there's no waste. They could increase property tax transfer fees so that when you buy or sell property, you pay a one-time fee, like documentary stamps. They could implement different mileage rates for different uses of property. Maybe there is no property tax for residents' homesteaded properties, but there is one for commercial properties. While these ideas and others could theoretically offset the $55 billion deficit from municipalities, implementing them proves challenging. So the hurdles of replacing property taxes: Florida law requires a supermajority for tax increases, meaning any changes to mileage rates, tourist taxes, or consumption taxes, among others, would need an individual joint bill where 2/3 of both chambers to vote in favor of this change. Each funding solution would need its own joint bill and pass a majority within the legislature. This makes it difficult to combine funding solutions versus having one option to replace the funding. It's not impossible, but it's a hurdle because of all the levers that need to be pulled, said the Florida Policy Institute's Santos. Impacts on eliminating Florida's property tax. It's unclear how eliminating property taxes would fully impact homeowners, renters, buyers, or sellers. The Senate bill should help provide a more concrete picture, but for now, these are just theories. It could improve homeownership affordability, they said. No risk of losing your home from unpaid taxes. Property values would likely increase in the state. Foreign investments and buyer interest could increase. Rents could come down, and it could result in underfunded services as well. Property values could decrease. Residents might pay more in other ways. And so, will Florida be eliminating the property taxes? This proposal is something that the state is taking seriously, says Hollander. However, before moving forward, lawmakers must determine viable funding solutions and assess economic impacts. DeSantis is term limited and will not be able to seek re-election in 2026. So there is always a chance this idea just fizzles out after he leaves office. However, if a joint bill is proposed and passed with a supermajority before 2026's election cycle, it could appear on the 2026 ballot. Any vote on eliminating or changing property tax would require a 60% majority vote by registered Florida voters. Nonetheless, it is a serious topic Florida residents should pay attention to as it progresses. So, we will see, and I will keep you guys up to date here on the channel. And again, after hearing all of this and the potential repercussions, the adjustments that might be needed to offset no more property tax income for the state, are you still on board? Do you think that they should eliminate this for the state of Florida? And what about the entire U.S.? Do you think it would be a good idea to eliminate property tax? If so, put yes. If no, put no. Let me know. Has your mind changed after seeing these updates and these assessments? Now, this comes as well, as I mentioned, as Ron DeSantis. He is also proposing $1,000 property tax rebates for Floridians. So we're going to be seeing if this goes through or not, and if it does, I'll be sure to let you know here on the channel. I'll keep you up to date on everything, let you know what is approved, what is not approved, what comes out in that big, beautiful bill. Where there'll be Doge dividend refund checks. Are they going to eliminate tax for Social Security beneficiaries? What's going to be happening here? I will keep you guys up to date every step of the way so you know exactly what is going on. But that is the latest. We will see. I will keep you up to date, as I mentioned. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't done so yet, don't forget, take a second, hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? And I'll keep you up to speed as more comes out. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.